Hi guys, it's me, Patricia Lynn. So, I forgot to show you guys this new haircut I have. So, remember a few days ago I said I was gonna get a new haircut? So it finally happened. I finally got a new haircut a few days ago. So, yeah, I'm happy that I have a new hairstyle, so, yay! Woohoo! No more of that braid being in my freaking way. Whenever I do swimming in the pool and all that. So, yeah. So, but that's not what I'm just only here to talk about today. But what I'm here to talk about today is I had a really weird dream. I'm gonna try to go as quick as I can to tell about it. So, okay, at the very first beginning, I had this, like, really weird dream where I was at my old house, and this old house was located somewhere in Wisconsin. So I'm, like, entering, like, I came back home from my friend's house, and I go inside my old house, and I was wondering why I was there at this point, and I was like, what am I doing here? And then I entered inside of my house, and as soon as I entered inside my house, there was, in my mom and dad's bedroom, I see someone, like, sleeping in my mom and my dad's bedroom. But it didn't seem like nobody was there, because I didn't see no head. I only see, like, one lump in the bed, and that was it. So I was like, okay, that's weird. Let me go check and see what's going on over there. So I go over there, I look under the covers, nobody wasn't there. And then I felt a tap on my shoulder. And I turned around and I was like, what the hell? Who's here? And nobody wasn't there. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if it's a ghost. Because there was one person who used to live in that house a long time ago. And they passed away, and then, like, that person, has been haunting that house, been making that house very haunted there. But not too haunted, just a little haunted, and all that. So, like, I was like, that's weird. Nobody isn't here. So I redecorated the bed, and then I go out in the living room, and then all of a sudden, I see Mamoru Chiba and Usagi Tsukino from Sailor Moon standing there solid, just staring at me outside. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. What are they standing there for? And I go out there, and I ask them, say, are you guys okay? Hello? And they weren't able to speak to me. They were just standing there solid. So I'm like, okay, this is really weird. I'm gonna go out there and check and see if they're okay. So I did, like, one of those waving things to get their attention. They weren't able to focus on that. And then all of a sudden Luna starts coming along, and then she's like, Patricia, something bad happened to them. They were trying to look for another version of you. They were looking for a smaller version of you, because they think that Sailor Pluto wanted the smaller version instead of the older version of me. And then I'm like, wait a second, that makes no sense, because I did not see a smaller version of me. I'm, like, an older person. Like, what am I doing in this dimension? Like, that's weird. And she's like, okay. And then, like, after that, like, I asked her and say, what's going on with Mamoru and Usagi? And she's like, oh, apparently when they were ready about to enter in the house, apparently they froze. They weren't able to move. And I was like, okay, that's really weird. And what I did is I had to shake Usagi to get her attention, and she finally was able to pay attention to me by doing that. And then, like, I had to do the same thing to Mamoru, and Mamoru was able to pay attention to me after that. And they were asking me and say, "Oh my gosh, Patricia, where have you been?" And I was like, I've been gone for the past few days. I'm sorry. I've been, like, doing some other stuff, so, yeah. And I had to explain about what happened, so, yeah. And apparently they were, like, confused, and then, like, they were like, okay, like, but we're looking for the smaller version of you now, because Sailor Pluto wanted that version instead of, you. And then I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Bruh, like, I don't understand why you're talking about this. She usually wanted me. I'm supposed to be the only Patricia that she wanted, not the smaller version. And then, like, after that, I entered inside my house. I went to go look into my sister's mirror to look at my body, and then I, like, turn on the light, and my sister wakes up, and then she's like, "Ah, the bright light!" And I'm like, sorry, Gabby, but sorry, my sister, Gabby, but listen, I have to look at my face in the mirror. So she's like, what are you talking about? Just go to bed. Like, you're fine. And I'm like, and I was like, no, I had to look at myself because I literally look different. And she's like, yeah, you're small. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm big. Like, what are you talking about? And I look at myself in the mirror, and what do you know? I actually do look small in the mirror, but my physical body is big. And I'm like, wait a second. This is really weird, because this is like a glitch. Like, I'm not supposed to be in this world. And then she's like, confused, and then she's like, my sister's like confused, and then she's like, okay, like, this is really weird. And I like, yeah, really super weird. The other weird thing is, did you not notice that Mamoru Chiba and Usagi Tsukino are both standing outside, and they were planning to come in and see if I'm here, the other version of me, the smaller version. And she was like, what? And she gets up, she looks out the door, and then she's like, oh, you're right, they are here. And I was like, yeah, that's Mamoru and that's Usagi. They're both just standing there, just staring. They were just staring at the house. That was it. And then, like, she went down and asked them everything, and she asked, and then they started asking me if it's okay if we could take Patricia Lynn with us, because we need her. And my sister was like, no, you can't take her, she's not allowed to go with strangers. And I'm like, Gabby, second of all, I am not small, I am a huge adult. How do you not see me as an adult? And she's like, no, you're still small. And I'm like, no, I'm not, I'm an adult. And she's like, no, you're not, you're small. And I'm like, no, I'm not small, I'm an adult. Look at my other face, not the one that's, like, lower down in my freaking body, bro. And then, like, she wasn't even, like, getting it, and then Mamoru had to, like, you know, go and speak with my sister alone, and gave her some advice. And then, like, after that, he comes back out here, and or maybe before he comes back outside with us, we had to get, like, a lot of questions, like, what is going on here? Why is this happening? Like, is this a glitch or something? And then, like, Usagi and Luna were both like, yeah, this is really confusing. You're usually not small, you're big, because we see you as a bigger person. And I was like, yeah, you see me as an older person, not like a small child. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And she's like, yeah. And then Mamoru finally comes back outside, and then he's like, I explained to her everything, I told her what's happening, and she finally believed me, but she went back to sleep and all that, she was tired. She thinks it was just a dream. And I'm like, apparently this is just a glitchy world, I think. Because apparently she sees me as a small child, and she doesn't see me as an adult. And they were like, yeah, you're an adult. You don't even look like a child. You just look like an adult, Patricia. And I was like, yeah. So, like, after that, we're trying to, like, find a place to go, like, somewhere else so I could use the time travel key. And apparently, we're walking in the wrong direction where we weren't supposed to walk towards to. Because we were supposed to walk over to the park where I could use my space-time key to travel in a different, back into Sailor Pluto's, place where she guards the door of space and time. The Silver Millennium, that's where I was supposed to go. So, like, right after when I was going through that, I realized that Mamoru, Usagi, and Luna were all just glitch robots, because they looked really different. They didn't look like the ones that I was looking for. So they were, like, I was asking them and say, hey, we're going the wrong way. We're not supposed to go that way. Why are you guys walking this way and not that way? We're supposed to go the other direction. And they're, like, just ignoring me. And I go, like, as fast as I can to look at their faces. And apparently their eyes were different colors. They didn't have their, like, regular eye colors. Like, their eye colors were green instead of blue, and Luna's eyes weren't red, which I was like, that's confusing. Like, their eyes are supposed to be in their regular colors. Like, this never happened before. So, like, after that, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna go run over to the park by myself so I can get all this over with. So as soon as I ran over towards to the park by myself, right by the bar that my dad used to go to a lot up north, and as soon as I walked towards that park, I start saying the words for the time travel key. And once I said the words for the time travel key, guess what happens? It teleports me into another dream, which that means I was lucid dreaming. So whenever, like, you're teleporting into another dimension, that means you're lucid dreaming. So I kind of realized that. And then, like, so, like, I'm at some kind of convention center next. And I'm like, okay, why am I at a convention center all of a sudden? This is not what I wanted. I wanted to go back into the world that I came from. Like, this ain't right. And I'm like, is the time travel key broken again? Like, did Sailor Pluto not fix it right or something? And then, like, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to try to figure all this out on my own. So I go inside the convention center. I am walking into the one convention center, and the one cool thing is there was a lot of actors and actresses who did, like, a lot of voices of all the other anime characters, other Cartoon Network characters, and Nickelodeon characters, and video game characters. Everyone was there, and I was like, I was, like, shocked. And then I was like, okay, this is really cool, but, still, like, have to figure out something about this. And so what I did is I went to walk inside the convention center myself. I mean, I went inside the expo, or whatever, the Comic-Con. That's what, well, actually it wasn't Comic-Con. It was like something like PalmCon, something like that. Or something, it was some kind of weird con that was happening. And then I'm just, like, walking into there, by myself, and I'm trying to figure out stuff, and there is one weird thing that happened, and this had something to do with me becoming, like, some kind of superhero. Like, I had some superhero ability. It was Spider-Man's powers. And I was like, wait a second, this ain't right. I'm not supposed to have this kind of power. I'm supposed to use my regular powers as a Sailor Guardian. This doesn't make any sense. I'm not supposed to be some kind of Sailor Spider. Like, that doesn't make no sense. So, yeah. That was, like, the most weirdest glitch I've ever gone through. So, like, I'm, like, swinging across, crawling on everything, swinging across again, and then all of a sudden I found another event that was going on in the convention center. There was a bunch of big, giant paintings, and I think it was a glitch because that wasn't meant to be in that convention center. Because I saw one of my mother's friends, and I'm not gonna say her name though, because I don't want to, like, you know, give out her name, but I saw one of her friends there, and I went to go talk to her, and I asked her and say, hey, is that you, Miss So-and-so? And she's like, oh, Patricia, you're here, but your mom's not here. Where's your mother? And I'm like, that's what I was about to ask you. Where is my mother? Why is she not with you? And she was like, no, she didn't came all of a sudden. And I'm like, well, did you notice that Comic-Con was happening? And then she's like, I don't see no Comic-Con. And I was like, how do you not see that? And she's like, I don't see it. And it's like, it's over there. And apparently she doesn't see what I see, because what I see is what I see. So apparently my my vision or my dream was glitched out. It was like really super glitchy. It was kind of like something that gives me like back room vibes. Like, you know how like in the back rooms everything glitches out, like you're lost and you're trying to figure out everything and something bad is happening. And then like I'm like, that's confusing, because there was supposed to be a con, like, right next to there. Like, seriously, how do you not see that? And she's like, no, all I just see is one of all these paintings, and that's it. I don't know what you're talking about, Patricia. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to figure this out by myself, but I'm gonna head out. And she's like, alright. So, I start heading out. I used my Spider-Man powers, my spiderweb powers, and I crawled everywhere. And then it's funny because right when I was swinging out of the convention center, I kept swinging and swinging and swinging, trying to find out how to get out of this dimension. And I'm like crawling on some other different service. And then as soon as I was swinging, guess who was actually in this dream? And I think someone might have, What Shall We Do Next might have accidentally let someone in my dreams with his, curse that he did a few days ago. Apparently, guess who I saw? The funny clown. He was in it. The funny clown was actually in my dream. He started grabbing me, and he started asking me, why did you not take these cards with you? You better take these cards. And I'm like, get off of me, you stupid freak, whoever you are. And I turned around, it was the funny clown. And I'm like, oh my gosh, not you. You're the funny clown who's been harassing everybody. You harassed everyone on What Shall We Do Next. Who the heck are you? Like, where do you came from? How did you get in my dream? And I was like confused why he was in my dream. And he was like trying to harass me even more. And then I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm running away from you. So I like webbed his face a couple of times. And I like pushed him out of my way. And I made a run for it. Because I think he was trying to threaten me as well in this dream. And I keep swinging and swinging and swinging and swinging, and then I went back inside the Comic-Con thing, and all of a sudden I see one of my favorite actresses who did the voices of Ash and did the voices of Sailor Pluto. That would be Veronica Taylor. So I go over to her and I go like, Veronica Taylor, is that you? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, listen, I need your help. Apparently this time travel key is not working. Do you have any other ways that you could fix it, or find any way that I could do something with this? And then she's like, that's a real time travel key? And I'm like, yeah, that's a real time travel key. And she's like, okay, listen, come with me. And I explained to her about the funny clown. And then she's like, alright. I'll talk to the securities and tell them about it. And I was like, okay. So she talks to the securities about it. And then after that, she asked the securities if it's okay if she can take a lunch break. And I followed Veronica Taylor to the lunchroom. And we go in there together. And she started asking me some questions like, so what's going on? And I'm like, listen, this time travel key apparently glitched out. I don't know if it's glitching or if it's broken, because apparently it's glitching me in different other dreams that I'm not supposed to be in. I'm supposed to be back in my regular world, not supposed to be in this world. Like, I was supposed to go home with Sailor Pluto. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, apparently I don't know how to fix it, but, there was someone actually looking for a girl named Patricia Lynn. And that was actually that was the real Sailor Pluto that I think was looking for you. Apparently she was giving out some papers saying, have you seen this girl named Patricia? Is she anywhere? And I'm like, okay, thanks for letting me know. I mean, Sailor Pluto is here. And she's like, yeah. I was like, that probably explains why I am talking to another Patricia. And I was like, that's because she's looking for me. So that means she is here. She's probably looking all over for me. She's probably worried about me. And she's like, and Veronica Tyler is like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad that I told you this. And I told her, thank you so much, and be sure to be really careful, because this funny clown, he might do something torture-ish. So, like, I went back outside. I went back out of the Comic-Con, and I went to go search for, like, Sailor Pluto while I'm, like, swinging around the whole entire place. And all of a sudden, I hear a bunch of screaming behind my back. So I went to go back to the Comic-Con thing, and I asked the securities, like, what happened, and apparently the securities would say, oh, the lights just went out, and then all of a sudden, Veronica Tyler went missing. And I was like, what? Veronica Tyler went missing? And they were saying, yeah. I was like, you know what? I think I know who is behind this. And they were like, who? That funny clown that Veronica Tyler was explaining to you. Because that's the clown that's been harassing me. And apparently, he's trying to harass other people. And apparently, he must be making me a trap or something like that. So, apparently, I told the securities, I'm gonna have to see if I could go after him myself. And then they were like, no, that's really dangerous. Like, you don't need to do that. And I was like, I have to. And they were saying, no, you can't do that. Only police officers can do this. And I was like, no, this is too dangerous. I have to go after him myself. Like, I have the power to destroy that clown. And then, like, after that, the securities told me, no, you should leave. And I was like, okay, fine. So, right before I was about to leave, so I just made a plan. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna give up. I'm going to find that clown, and I'm I'm gonna find Veronica Tyler, and I'm gonna find Sailor Pluto. I'm not gonna leave those two behind. So I go swing a little bit more, and then there was something really weird that happened. Apparently, there was one hidden room in this building that was meant not to be there. It was some kind of weird, like, Home Depot, bunch of, like, shelves from, like, Home Depot that have, like, a bunch of items on there. But it didn't look like Home Depot. It looked something, like, different. It was kind of like a dark version of Home Depot. Like, I feel like maybe, it was, like, an abandoned Home Depot. So, like, I'm inside this, like, creepy building in the convention center building. And I'm like, okay, this is really weird, because this is not supposed to happen. And I'm, like, swinging still, crawling on different items, trying to search for Veronica Tyler and Sailor Pluto. And as soon as I was doing that, guess who I see? I finally see Veronica Tyler, and I see her watching Sailor Pluto on the TV screen, passed out. And I think Veronica Taylor was also passed out. But something was also hooked onto Veronica Taylor's arm, apparently. So, yeah. And I was like, okay, something is literally on Veronica Taylor's arm. So I looked all the way over there, and I had to, like, zoom in. So, like, as soon as I zoomed in, I was like, oh my gosh, Veronica Tyler's attached to the TV. That's not good. I'm assuming her soul is inside of Sailor Pluto's body through that TV. So apparently I see, like, Sailor Pluto waking up, and then all of a sudden Sailor Pluto is looking at herself in the reflection, and then I think Sailor Pluto got, like, I think Veronica Tyler must have got inside of Sailor Pluto's body. And I'm like, oh no, this is not good, because I gotta go get her out of there as fast as I can. So I swing over there as fast as I can, and I landed, and I told Veronica Taylor, Veronica, you're stuck inside of a trap. I'm gonna get you out of there, okay? And then she's like, alright, hurry up though, because I do not want to be stuck inside of my anime character's body. No. And I was like, okay, don't worry, I'm gonna get you out of there, trust me. So I yanked the thingy off of her arm, and she was managed to get back in her regular body. So I told Veronica Taylor, listen, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, I'm fine. And I was like, okay, good. Listen, I'm going to get you back home, trust me. I'm going to get you back to where you were before. And she was like, alright. And I told her and say, listen, I have to help Sailor Pluto though, because I need to get Sailor Pluto back with me. And she was like, alright. So I knocked on the screen really hard so I could, really hard to see if Sailor Pluto can get my attention. And Sailor Pluto is like, Patricia, is that you? And I'm like, yes, it's me. And she's like, listen, I need your help. You need to help me get out of this mess. I was like, listen, Pluto, I know you need help, but listen, you have to give me advice. How are you going to find your way out of there? And she's like, I don't know, but keep in touch with me from your phone. And make sure you find a safe place for Veronica Taylor, because that clown is going to keep coming back any second. And I was like, alright. So I finally go find a safe place for Veronica Taylor, and I told her to say, listen, Veronica Taylor, you have to stay put in this room. Keep the door locked. Do not answer it. Make sure you have a bat with you, and be prepared for a weapon. Because if this funny clown comes and tortures you too, you have to make sure you gotta bat him really hard in the head. So she told me, and then she told me, okay, thank you for letting me know. And I was like, you're welcome. So I finally leave her in the room, and then I went to go find Sailor Pluto, and then Sailor Pluto's like, calling me, and then she's telling me, Patricia, I figured out that I'm in a room in this building, so make sure you hurry up and find me really quickly. And I was like, alright, okay, I'm on my way. So I keep swinging and swinging and swinging, and then Sailor Pluto's like looking at me from my phone, and then she's like, Patricia, do you have some kind of new power? And I was like, this is not the power I'm supposed to have. This is like a glitchy power that I have for some reason. I have Spider-Man's powers for some reason. And she's like, that's weird, because you're not supposed to have that kind of power. And I was like, I know. So, like, after that, right when I was done swinging, I told her to knock really louder on the door, and she knocks really loud, and finally I was like closer. But the one problem was, the door had a security code that I had to crack the code on. So I was like, Sailor Pluto, I have to crack the code first. And then she's like, damn it! I was like, I know. Well, hurry up and find the code so you can get me out of here, because I do not want to be stuck in here. And I was like, don't worry, I'm gonna find it. So I tried to find the code everywhere, and finally I was able to find the code, and then I cracked it myself, and then finally she was able to come out of that room, and then she was like, oh, thank God, I finally got out. And then we both hugged each other, and I told her, are you okay? Like, I was worried about you. And she was like, yeah, I was worried about you too. And then I asked her, like, hey, is it really true that you just only wanted the younger version of me? And then she was like, no, I never said that. And I was like, I get it now. It was all just a glitch. So apparently I think somebody let me in the glitchy world. And she was like, you know what? I think it has something to do with my evil twin, Patricia. Because I think my evil twin is trying to torture you and torture us. And I was like, that's true. So after that, me and Sailor Pluto, we went to go back over to find Veronica Taylor at the other room that she's in. And apparently Veronica Taylor had to get a hold of me on a walkie-talkie, and she told me, Patricia, are you guys alright? Are you alright? And I'm like, yeah, I'm alright. And she's like, were you able to find Sailor Pluto? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, listen. The funny clown, dude, he's standing right by the door, and apparently he has some kind of key with him to unlock the door. And I'm like, okay, listen, just stay put. I'm gonna be there in a moment. So, me and Sailor Pluto flew me back all the way to the area where I had to be to save Veronica Taylor from the funny clown. And we see the funny clown, and we told the funny clown and say, stop it right there, you funny clown. And he's like, he looks, and then he's like, you two, what are you two are doing here? And why did you free my prisoners, Patricia? And I'm like, well, you deserved... Well, the reason why I released them is because they didn't deserve to be like this. And second of all, I won't forgive you for what you've done to my friends. And then he's just like being all grouchy, and he's hissing at me, and he's like laughing because he thinks it's funny. And then me and Sailor Pluto, we had to land on the ground, and then Sailor Pluto got her staff out, and I got my katana out, and Sailor Pluto used like her dead scream attack, and he was able to dodge that, and then apparently he was about to charge at me, and I used my katana, and once I used my katana, the light started flickering off, and then it flickered back on, and apparently the funny clown disappeared. So I was like, where the heck did he go? And Sailor Pluto was like, yeah, where did he go? What happened? Did he, like, disappeared? And I was like, I guess so. And I guess this is a good sign since we can get our asses out of here. And she's like, that's true. So I told Veronica and say, Veronica, you can come out now. And she's like, alright. So she got out, and then I told her and say, let's finally all go back to where we came from. And they were like, agree, let's get out of here. So we all got out of here. We all got out of that that creepy Home Depot area. So we got out of that room, and then we were able to go back to the area where the Comic-Con was located at. And Veronica Taylor went back all the way over to the securities, and the securities were like, Veronica Taylor, where have you been? Are you okay? And she was like, yeah, I'm alright. Some reason someone kidnapped me and put me in some kind of dark basement. And I was like, glad she didn't I'm glad she didn't tell anybody about the whole story, what happened, because they wouldn't believe her. They would probably think she was crazy, but we know she's not. So after that, me and Sailor Pluto left the building. We went all the way over to the Clematis thing, and I explained Sailor Pluto about the time travel key. Somehow it's broken, it's not able to work, apparently. And she's like, so that's what glitched you into this world? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, listen, Patricia, I'm gonna use my time travel key that works a lot better. So just hold on to my hand and we'll be able to get out of here. So I hold on to Sailor Pluto's hand, and she uses the right words to say, to open up her portal to get back into her Silver Millennium area where she guards the door of space and time. And we were able to float in the sky together, and then after that, we finally made it back. Okay. So, yeah, and then after that, I told Sailor Pluto, you know what, can we hang out together here for a while and just relax? And then she was like, yeah, no problem, let's definitely do that. So me and Sailor Pluto both did that, and she told me that she would promise to get me a better time travel key, so that way it doesn't happen again. So, yeah. So that's the end of that dream, and so glad that dream ended a really good way. So, yeah. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's really super long, but I tried my best to speed it up a little bit. I might have to do a little bit of editing, because I know some of my words didn't make any sense and all that. So, yeah. And I'm basically supposed to be going swimming today, so hopefully I'll do that today. So, yeah. So, see you guys later. Peace out, and enjoy your lovely day. And also, be safe out there. And also let me know, what kind of dreams do you get? Because I really am curious. What kind of dreams do you get? So, see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.